Yeah, so I'm Aston. Nice to see everybody here. It's a good turnout. It looks like there's 20 odd or 30 odd people, so that's really good. So as Brody said, it's just a bit of a beginner session for Purple Pen. So we're going to run through everything from downloading the software online and then setting up an event, setting some courses, setting some relays, some score events, and then some fun stuff like doing some corridors and that sort of thing towards the end. So I guess I'll get started by sharing my screen. And as Brody said, you can split the screen in two by doing that little drop down menu at the top, or you can just follow along or just watch. It's sort of up to you. Let me just share my screen. All right. Can you guys all see that? Just maybe send a thumbs up to the chat if you can see it. I don't want to start if you guys can't see my screen. It should be the Purple Pen website. Yep. Okay. Looks like we can see it, so that's good. All right. So let's just start from the super beginning. I'm assuming most of you have downloaded it, but if you haven't, this bit's for you. So this is the link that Brody sent in that email. And if you haven't got that email, then it's up here on the top left. It's simply just Purple Pen. Look it up on Google. It should come up. It'll be the first one. And then, well, it's super easy. Click download, and it should download. And then when it downloads, you open it and you click install. Yes. And when it loads, you click install. Now I've already installed it, so I can click cancel. But if you haven't installed it, click install. And it should download to your machine. Now that might take a couple of seconds, but I'll just move right on and you can catch up if you just downloaded it just now. So obviously we have to open Purple Pen. So I just find it here on my search bar, and this is the first thing that pops up when you open Purple Pen. So we're going to create a new event because we're starting from scratch, create new event. And now this is a nice bit. We can give it a title. So let's just call it PPen test. That's just the event name. So you can obviously change this later. Now we have to choose a map file. So Brody mentioned in the email that if you don't have a map file to email him and he'll give you one. So I just assume that if you guys are following along that you've got a map file. So I've just opened up my map files here and I'm going to pick a map file to set this course on. Shooting Diggings looks pretty good. Click next. Then if you've opened an OCAD file or an Open Orienteering mapper file, it'll automatically read the map scale for you here, where it says map scale. And then you can choose the default printing scale. But don't worry, if you enter the wrong scale, you can always change it as it says just below. And if you've got a PDF or a JPEG as your map, then you'll have to manually enter that map scale, and then it will read it for you. And it's pretty nice. It does all the scaling for you once you enter the scale. So because it's an OCAD file, it's read it for me. I can just go ahead and go next. I wanted it 1 to 10. That's good. Next. Now I can choose the default printing. Again, you can change this when you print the stuff. So I'm just going to leave this as the standard and click next. And then this is just where you want to save your Purple Pen. So you can choose where on your machine you want to save it. So I'll just keep it in the same file as the map folder. That's all right with me. So I'll go next. And then this is as it says, the descriptions and the map standard. So I usually just keep this as default, the newest and the newest for both of them. Next. And this is the control description code that you start with. So the first one. And I usually just keep this as default because you can always change this as you go on, and you usually have to change this as you go on. So again, just click next. And then next. That already exists. Sorry, so I'll just open this one. All right. So now we're in Purple Pen. Let me full screen that. So this is what's going to pop up when you open Purple Pen. It's going to be just the map and a whole bunch of stuff on the left. Ignore all this stuff here. Sorry, let me just actually make a new one because this one I've already started. So I'll call it PPen test 2. And if you weren't paying attention, then you can watch me do all this stuff again that I just went through. I'll do it a bit faster though. So basically you just click next on everything and then you click finish. All right, so here we go. Now we started from blank, completely blank. We got our map file. We can see, we zoom in, it's pretty good quality. So that's good. We can see all the little details. We can move around, and we've got our taskbar and stuff at the top, all our little tools And on the left, we've got our control description, which is completely empty because we haven't got any controls. And just here where it says all controls, there's a little window across the top there. That's where our courses are going to go when we decide to set some courses. So let's do that now. Let's just start by setting a course. It's the easiest way to learn. So to start a course, you come up to this top taskbar and you find course just there. Click it and add course. It's really easy. So Purple Pen is nice because it's very, very simple and intuitive. So you just go to course, add course. Course name, let's just call it course 1. Nice and simple. And all these other things, you can almost always just leave them default unless you need to change some things. So for example, if you want to set a score course, which we'll come back to later in the video, but when you start the course, instead of going normal course, change it to score course. The climb you can add in later. The length always just leaves it as automatic because it does it for you, which is nice. Printing scale, you can change it later. The descriptions, whether you want symbols or whether you want text or whether you want both, again, you can change that later. So I always just click through this and leave it all as default because you can change it as you go. All right, so now we have a course. And if you look up the top left, I don't know if you guys, hopefully you guys can see my mouse, but the top left where it says all controls in course 1, you'll see now that next to all controls, there's course 1. So our course is in there. Great, Bro's put a thumbs up. So I think you guys can see that. So now we've got a course. So first thing we need to do when we have a course is put a start in and put some controls in there. So let's just go straight ahead and do that. To add a start, pretty simple. You come up to the button that says add start on this second taskbar. Click add start and pick the spot where you want to add it. So for me, let's go, I don't know, that track junction there. And you click it and it's there. Now, if we go to all controls, that start is there in all controls as well. So anything you do to any of the courses automatically goes to the all controls, which makes sense. All right, so then we'll add a control from this start point, which again is super simple. You go add control. It's right next to the add start button. There's a shortcut for this for those who like to save a bit of time. Control A. Click Control A and you'll have this nice little thing. It follows your mouse and you can choose where you want to add this control. So I don't know. What looks like a tricky first control. I don't know. Something like that. Not very hard, but you know, you can see you can add a control. Simple as that, and it does it for you, just like Condes or any other course setting platform. So now we've got a control. We can just add another control by again clicking add control. But now we've got this sort of problem. If we just click add control, we get it like you can see that it wants to set it from the start to where the mouse is to the control that we've already set. But we wanted to set it from the number 1 that's already on the map to a new control. So how do we do that? It's really simple. You click on the control that you want to add a new control afterwards. So I've clicked on number 1 because I want to make a number 2. And then it will, see that's much better. It will let me set one from number 1. And I can choose where I want to put it. So I don't know, let's go this little boulder here, a nice short one. And you can see it automatically adds it for you. We can do it again. So click on number 2 and we'll go over here. And let's just pretend that I forgot a control. I wanted to put another control in between 2 and 3. That's really easy. I just click on number 2 and it will let me add a control in the middle here. Super simple. And let's just say I wanted to put on that cliff. All right, now we've got 4 controls. And now just to finish off the course, we've got to add a finish. Again, super simple. Come up to this top taskbar, add finish. And let's just say we want to put the finish down here. And now we've got a finish. We've got a course. So let's just go through this course a little bit and look at some of the nice little tricks you can do with Purple Pen and with most course setting platforms. But so we've got our little control description on the left over here. It's got our distance, it's got our event name, it's got our course name, and it's got all the controls and the distance to the finish, like all control descriptions should have. But it's blank. It obviously can't do the control descriptions for you, so you have to enter those manually. We can just quickly go through these. It's just like setting any control description. You click on the little box where you want to add a symbol, and then you go down and find the right symbol. So that one's a pit, and you can see it's a pit. And then the next one, what is that? A stone. We can add a stone. Next one's a cliff. So where's the cliff symbol? There it is. And let's just say we want to put it at the foot. And then the last one is a little gully. So there we go. And now we've got our control description for this course. So the next thing we're going to want to do is most events you run will have the control description on the map, as well as a loose bit of paper that you get at the start. So let's try and add this little control description to the side of the map somewhere next to the course. And that's, again, super simple. We come up to this little taskbar and we click Add Description. And you can easily draw in by clicking and dragging the control description. You can add it somewhere. So let's just put it there. There it is. Voila, you can move it around. It covers the map, so you got to be careful of where you put it. And you can, let's just say we want it there. You can make it bigger or smaller to fit, depending on how big you want to print. Let's just say we want it that big. That looks readable. Now we've got our control description on the map next to our course, which is very nice. That's super simple. And we've set a course basically from scratch, and we've set a course in 5 minutes. So that's really nice. So let's go into some more complicated stuff now that we've got the super basics down. Let's go and add, following this taskbar, we've done the first 1, 2, 3, 4 things on this taskbar: add start, add control, add finish, and add descriptions. Let's go on and add a map exchange, because that's the next thing along the taskbar. Now this can be a bit scary. It sounds a bit complicated, but on Purple Pen, it's super easy, which is great. All you have to do is click Add Map Exchange. Then it prompts you with 2 options. The first option is just to add a map exchange, add a control. So there's no tape route to the new map. It's just you flip the map at that control, which is always the simplest one. And I always tell people to use this one, because otherwise it gets a little bit messy. So we're going to use this one for this tutorial. So we're going to click on Add Map Exchange at Control Point. And now you can see it's just like adding a control on the course. So you have 2 options. You can add a control, or you can click on a control that already exists. So if you add a control, it's obviously going to add a control to the course and put the map exchange at that point. So it's often easier just to set the course and then select a control where you want the map exchange to be. For example, if I want to have a map exchange at number 3, I don't know why you would have a map exchange on this course, but for the purpose of this tutorial, let's add one. So you click on number 3, and now you can see nothing really happened. But if you look at the control description on the left, you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, then we've got tape route 0 meters to the new start, and then we've got 4, and then the finish. So that's great. Our map exchange is in there, but how do we see the 2 individual parts of the course so we know that we haven't got any overlap or anything? Again, that's super easy. You come up to the top, you can see course part. Currently we're on all parts. We're looking at the whole course. We can click on that and we can see part 1 of 2 or part 2 of 2. And that'll be before the map exchange. Got our control description there, and we've got after the map exchange, which is super short little thing into there. So that is super easy, a really easy way to add a map exchange. And if you want to delete a map exchange, pretty easy. You just Control Z, or you click on the map exchange in the control description and just click delete, and it's gone. So that's a really easy way to create a map exchange and to get rid of a map exchange. And I'll go through how to print off those two individual maps on the same course with the map exchange a bit later in the video. But let's just go a little bit deeper into the basics of course settings, such as cutting the lines and, making the course look a bit nicer. Because if I zoom in here to the first control, as a runner, to me, that looks a bit messy. Like the line covers some of the detail. I want to be able to see all that detail as I come into the control and make sure I'm going the right way. So as a course setter, I've got to make sure I clear this so the runner can see what they're doing. And that is, again, really easy. So all you have to do is, let's say I want to cut the line. So this boulder here is not covered by the line. You click on the circle. So the circle is highlighted. You can see that now the circle is red and the number is red. And just by the way, a little extra tip, you can move the number once you've clicked on the circle. So if the numbers sort of get in the way of the course, you can just move them around to fit. So we click on the circle, then we come up here to item and we go add gap. And then you can see there's a little shortcut, Control G. And there's also a shortcut over on the right here. This little gap one is the same thing as going item, add gap. So we go gap and we just click where the boulder was, which is there. And now you can see we've got a gap in the circle. And when we select the circle, we've got 2 little blue squares. Those blue squares we can click and drag and make the gap as big or as small as we want. just like that. So that's really easy to use, and we can do this side as well. Nice. And we can, to get rid of this gap, let's say, oh, I accidentally clicked in the wrong spot. I don't want a gap there. Really easy. You can just drag one of the blue squares to the other blue square and overlap them, and then it will disappear. And we can do exactly the same thing with the lines, but instead of selecting the circle, we select the line that we want to cut, and then just come up here to this little cut symbol, or go Item, Add Gap, or Control G is the shortcut, and then just click where we want to add a gap. So let's go there, and we got the little blue squares again. We can move them. Let's say we want to make a big gap. That's good there. And you can see now the runner can see all the information as they come in. Maybe that gap's too big, so we drag it there. Yep, now it looks good. You can definitely see all the information, and the course isn't compromised by cutting the line too big. So to me as a runner, that looks pretty good. Just cut this one where the boulder is and should be good to go. All right, easy. So now we've got a course with a control description, and we've cut the lines in some places to make it look nice. And that was all really quick and really easy. And Purple Pen is great because it's super intuitive. You can just come up here, see all the things. And even if you don't know how to do something, you can often just figure it out really simply just by, clicking on the thing you want to change, or it'll just tell you what to do up in this taskbar. All right, so
just a quick question. When you were adding controls before, you were using Control A, was it?
Yeah, that's the shortcut.
Yeah, cool. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, so when you come up to add control, if you hover your mouse over the add control little button, it'll say, you can see add control brackets Control A. If you see it up there. So that's the shortcut. Anything that has a shortcut when you hover your mouse over it, it'll tell you. It doesn't look like any of these ones have got a shortcut. But I know that these ones have got shortcuts. Add gap, Control G, add bend, Control B. All right, so a couple more things before we move on to some more exciting stuff such as relay and loops and forking and all that. We'll just go and do this last control here. Now, usually the last control to the finish is a taped route. So that means that the line should be dashed. So in this case, let's just say this is the Australian champs. This would definitely have a taped route from the finish to the last control, from the last control to the finish. So how do we do that? Purple Pen doesn't want to do it for us automatically because it doesn't know if it's going to be a taped route or not. So we have to do that ourselves. And don't worry, it's super simple. We click on the line, so the line that we want to add gaps to. We come up to Item. Then we go down to leg flagging, which just means whether it's got dashed or not. And you can see we got lots of options. The entire line flag, so the entire line dashed. You've got the beginning of the line dash or the end of the line dashed. So for us, it's definitely the entire line flag, and you can see now we've got a dashed line. So now it looks like a real course. We've got the start, we've got 4 controls, we've got a nice little, it's nice and neat up here, and we've got a taped route to the finish, and we've got our control description. All right, so that's a easy first course. That should take you no time at all. When you get used to it, you'll be able to smash through that in 5 minutes and then print it and put it on USB and take it to wherever you want to print it super simply. So let's go and do a relay, which is a little bit more complicated. Let's make a new course. So remember, it's course, add course. I'm going to call it, let's go relay, just so I know which is which. And just to make it a little bit different, make it a little bit more tricky, because this is one of the questions that we got asked, how to print maps at a different scale in the same event. So it's really easy. Instead of 1 to 10,000, I can select 1 to 7,500 for this course. And that, that does it, basically does it. So now we've got our relay, and you can see it automatically has given me the start and the finish that I used before for this first course. That we can create a new start and a new finish, even though we're in the same event file. So let's do that. Where I clicked on our relay course, which you can see is popped up here next to course 1 and all controls. And we can just go add start, and we can change the start. So let's go to a different part of the map. Let's go over here. And now you can see it's taking us to the same finish, and let's just make a new finish. So let's make it over here, just up the top here. Okay, so we've got our relay. It doesn't look super exciting at the moment. We've got a start, and the finish is straight down the track with no forking. So let's let's straight away add a forking. So that's really easy. You just come up and go add variation. Click on the point that you want to add the variation from. So from the start, we want to immediately add a variation. So we click on the start triangle, add variation. Then it'll give you this pop-up menu. What type of forking we like to add? A fork or a loop. So like a butterfly loop or just a normal forking. We'll come to a butterfly loop, but we'll do a fork first because it's a little bit easier. And number of branches. So you can see that Purple Pen is super intuitive. It gives you all the options. It tells you what to do. Number of branches. So let's go, most relay shoes, you have 3 splits per control. So we'll go 3 and we'll go okay. And now if you come up to the left here, our control description has disappeared, but we've got this like course ordering thing. And if we just come down a little bit, you can actually see, you can flick between the two. We've got our descriptions, which is empty because we haven't added any controls. And we've got our course ordering, which is really useful for relays, keeping track of which forking goes where and where each course goes. So let's go over to ordering. So change from descriptions to ordering so we can see our first variation, which we added. Remember, we clicked on the start and then we went add variation and we chose forked and we chose 3 forking. So we've got A, B, and C, but they're all empty. So let's click on A. So click on the line to A and you can see it's red. Then go up to add control or the shortcut control A. And we can add the first forking A. So where should we go? Let's go over this way. We can go to this little cliff. So that's our first forking. And you notice that it doesn't say like control number 1. It immediately goes to the control code, not control 35. That's just because if it said 1, 2, 3, 4 on the relay, it would get super messy. So it just does it tells us the control code instead. And we can see that's the right control by flicking back to our all controls, which shows us all the controls that we've set. And we can confirm that that is in fact control 35. So that's good and everything's working. Purple Pen hasn't broken. That's always nice. All right, so let's go back to our relay course and then go back to ordering and give us this thing. And now we can see that our forking goes from the start and our A forking goes to control 35. So let's add a B forking by clicking on B, then going add control. Second forking can be maybe this little gully with the stone just there. And now you can see that B is control 36 and we can click on C and again, add control. And let's make it a little bit different. This one can be the different forking. We'll put it in this gully over here on that stone. So now you can, I might just change it so it's a little bit neater for us all to see. I'll put it there. All right, so we can see we've got an A forking, we've got a B forking, and we've got a C forking. And you can see that from the start triangle, it goes to 37, it goes to 35, it goes to 36, and then they all meet at the finish. That's because that's all the course is so far. So let's add a few more controls. Let's add a common control after this first forking by clicking on the little line in between the forkings and the finish just there with the 2 red arrows. If you click on the other line, then it will add a control where you don't want it. So we want to click on this line just there, and we can add a common control before our finish. So let's go up a bit of a longer one. Maybe we can go to there. I might just move the finish just so it's a little bit easier to see. But now you can see that the controls split, go to 35, 36, and 37, and then they all meet up again at 38. And you can also see this on the left in the course ordering. So you can see we got forking A, B, and C, and they meet up at 38. So let's just do another control, and then we can do one more forking, and then we can play around a bit. So we'll add another exchange. So another forking. Click on number 39 because that's where we want to add the forking from. Go to add variation, fork, number of branches 3, okay. And now we can add a D forking, an E forking, and an F forking. So let's add the D one first. Click on the D line, add control. Let's send them into this gold mining stuff, maybe just there on that little cliff. Let's add an E forking, click on the E, add control, and let's go, where's a good spot? We don't want to make it too easy on this pretend course. That little gully, that looks good. And let's add an F forking, add control. I'll send this one a little bit different over here. That one's just down the track, but it's a pretend course, it doesn't matter. All right, so now we've got 2 splits, A, B, C, 2 common controls, and then D, E, F. And let's add 1 more common control before the finish. So we click on the little line in between the variations and the finish. This one, just not that one, this one there, that little red arrow, add control, and then let's put it just on this gully here. Nice run down into the finish. And now you can see we've got a nice little forked course, or a relay, or a mass start, whatever you're going to use the variations for. And it's really easy to keep track of on the left by using this, the course ordering thing. You can see where all the variations are. And then you can physically see where all the variations are on the map over here. So that's really easy. And now Purple Pen also does this great thing where you can see where you can see the individual courses. So it automatically generates all the different possibilities that you could run. So in this case, it should be 6 possibilities because there's 3 splits and then 3 splits. Sorry, 9 possibilities. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 and 3. So there's 9 different variations up the top here. So if you see course variation, all variations is selected now, so we can see all of them. But if we go and click on a specific variation, it'll only be that course. And that's what the runner will see when they pick up their map. So that's really good. It shows us as the course setter, we want to be able to see the specific courses and the master map, which is this all variations. So that's really nice. We can go through, select the better ones. Maybe we don't need to use all the variations, whatever you want. But from here, you can really control what you want to do. And you can actually also see down the bottom here, underneath the course ordering, it'll tell you the length of the course relay, 2.07 to 2.13. So you can see that all the forkings, the shortest forking is 2.07 kilometers and the longest forking is 2.13 kilometers. So they're all pretty similar, which is also good. You often don't want them to be massively different. So that's also good. And the other thing Purple Pen does is it generates this nice little, it can auto-generate. So instead of you going through and assigning each team a variation, it can do it for you by going up to course. So make sure you're on the relay course and then go course, relay team variations. And then you just have to enter a little bit of information about the event. So let's say we've got 9 teams. Each team has got 3 legs. Team number start at 1, yes, and we just go assign variations, and bang, it's automatically generated some variations for each team for us. So you could use these variations, and you could print this off by going print preview, export it, whatever you want, and you could use this at the event. It automatically does it for you. It saves you probably a couple of hours going through and selecting which team gets what variation on what leg. So that's a really nice feature about Purple Pen. You can use this and then makes organizing the event much faster and much easier. So that's really good. I really like this part of Purple Pen. So that's a pretty basic relay. Let's extend this and add a butterfly loop to the relay. So from control number 43, I'm going to add just another control to get it out so it's a little bit less messy. Let's just go over here, a common control to that pit on the spur. Now we'll add a butterfly loop. So let's go click on 44 because that's where we want the butterfly loop to start. Add variation, but this time instead of being a fork, will be a loop. And let's just say how many loops. Let's just go with 2 loops. Keep it nice and simple. So 2 loops. That's just your normal butterfly. And now if you go over to the left, you can see on the course ordering part of things, you've got these weird loopy looking things because we clicked on loop. So it's nice. It shows you what type of forking it is. So same as the other forkings, all we have to do is click on G, click on the G variation, and then we can click add control and we can pick where the first control of the first loop will be. So let's say it's going to be there. Then we can add the second control of the first loop by clicking Control A, the little shortcut for add control. And there we go. We've got our first little loop. Now let's add the H loop, the other variation. Control A, the shortcut. Let's go to this cliff. Control A again, down to this little gully. And there we've got a nice butterfly loop. And let's just add a common control to the finish. Let's just go just there, just to neaten things up a little bit. Yeah, that looks okay. All right, so now we've got another variation in our relay. So we've got a three forking here, a couple common controls, another 3 forking here, and then a butterfly loop. So the runners are definitely going to get broken up by this. That's really good. Each runner will probably have a different map because there's now a lot of variation. There should be 18, 3 times 3 times 2. So that's good. And you can see all the individual variations here. Let's just move that number out of the way. Remember, you can move the numbers by simply clicking on the control circle that you want to move the number of, and then just click and drag. Really easy. And Purple Pen will actually try to put the numbers in the best place possible for you. So you can see that if I move these two numbers close together, the 7 will actually move a little bit. If I move it even more, 7 will move again. So it tries to guess where the best spot for you is, and will try and put the number in that spot. But often you still have to move the numbers around a little bit. So you can see that this is ADGH, the variation ADGH. It'll go to control A here, then it'll go to control D here, and then it will go to control G and H over here in that order. So that's pretty cool. That's a loop. That's super simple. So you can see it does this one first, 7, 8, 9, and then it will do 10, 11, and back to 12. And if we go to another one, let's go one that goes HG, you can see that this one is really similar, except it goes 7, 8, 9, and then goes 10, 11, 12. So there's a butterfly loop. Really easy. All you have to do is go add variation, click on the control you want to start it from, add variation, make sure you select loop, however many loops you want, and you select that, and then you can go, and then you just draw the loops by adding controls. And of course, you can add more controls to these loops if you want. We go back to the all variations so we can control it a bit better. We'll just click over here, control A, let's add another control. There's a little short one, and we can change this a little bit and go add another control there, and let's go like that. And now our loops have got 3 controls each. Super simple, super easy, really intuitive. That's why Purple Pen is so easy, so quick, so fast to use. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons I really like using Purple Pen is just doing the relays is super simple. And you can do this thing that I showed you before. If you click course, relay team variations, and you can automatically generate the legs that each team will run if you enter the number of teams and the amount of legs. So for example, if you're organizing Euclid, which is like thousands of teams, each with 7 legs, and you can imagine going through and manually putting in which team has which variation on which leg, that would take you forever. So, but if you said, let's say we had 10 teams with 7 legs each, it does it for you. Look at that. And it gives you a warning because we don't have enough variations for 7 legs, but that's all right. And we have all the legs there. So that's great. So let me just have a look at what's next, but I think we'll move on to some more exciting stuff like adding some fake fences or adding some, making a corridor. Let me just see what's next. I might just quickly go and do how to export and how to print before we move on and do the corridor and do that sort of fun stuff, because let's just get that out of the way because it's not as exciting. So we'll start with the basic course. So we go back to course 1 up the top in our little taskbar of courses, course 1, and we go back to descriptions so we can see the descriptions. Have we got the descriptions on the course? Yeah, we do. They're just there. So let's go and try and print this. So we don't really want to print directly from Purple Pen, and we actually can't. Well, we can, but I wouldn't recommend it. We want to go and create a PDF first and then print that PDF. So then you can put it on a USB, give it to your printer, all that sort of stuff. But before we do that, we have to set the print area. So if I zoom way out, so you can see the whole map here, and you can see that there's a light sort of rectangle, and then there's a dark sort of area behind it. That's because when I created the event, I left the default printing area at an A2 page. So that's an A2 page at 1 to 10,000. Obviously, I don't want to print A2 on such a small course. That's just a waste of paper. So I'm going to go ahead and change that by going to File, Set Print Area, and then I can choose, do I want to set the print area for this course or all the courses? And since the relay used a slightly different bit of the map compared to this course, I might just click this individual course. And now you can see I've got my A2 area. This red area is the same area that was the highlighted area that I zoomed out to show you before. So we can really easily just come up and change this A2 to A4, maybe even A5 because it's such a small map, such a small area. That looks really good. Portrait, landscape, doesn't really matter. Let's go landscape. I usually just leave these two blank. Yeah, these two, not blank, sorry. Just leave them as whatever they're defaulted to, which is usually ticked. I won't even get into those because they're pretty self-explanatory. Just leave them ticked, click done. And now you can see that if I zoom out again, the highlighted area is much smaller, and that's because it's the print area, in which we set to A6. So now we can go ahead and create some PDFs or some image files, whatever you want. I usually do PDFs, but depending on what you need to do, you can do images as well. So you come into File, Create PDFs, Courses, if you want to create the PDFs for the courses. And now you can choose which courses do I want to create the PDFs for. So let's just start by doing course 1 because it's a bit easier than doing the relays. So tick course 1, give it a name. So I don't know what this is, Oz Champs. Let's just pretend it's the Oz Champs Middle. It's not a very good course for the Oz Champs Middle, but that's all right. And then here you can choose where you want to save it. So I'm just going to save it somewhere really easily so I can show you guys. Let's just go Documents. I won't even put it in a folder. And create. No courses were selected to print. What does that mean? Course 1. What's the problem here? Sorry, there seems to be a bit of a problem. Okay, I don't know what the problem was there. It worked the second time. I didn't actually change anything. All right, so now I've created that PDF of this course. I'm going to open it. I just saved it straight into Documents. Oz Champs Middle Course 1. There it is. I'll open it up and it should be a nice little A6 of our course. Fantastic. There it is. The only problem is this doesn't look very pretty. It's just a course. It's got no border. It's got no images. It's got no logos. It's got no title, no map scale. It's just got the course and it's got the control description. Now we can add all those things. Let's just quickly go and do those because again, they're really simple. Let me close this up. All right, so we come back. This is our print area. This is our course. We go into add special item. Basically, everything interesting is in add special item, I guess, because it's, the special items. So let's say we want to add a little border. We come into rectangle and we can choose the color. Let's go dark blue, make the corners a bit curved, make the line a bit thicker. Let's just make that really thick. Let's make it 1.5. And okay, and then we can draw our rectangle just on the edge of our print area, just like that. All right, now we've got our border, so it's starting to come together a little bit. We can go add special item again, text. So let's add a title and the map scale. So the title will be, we can actually, there's a Purple Pen has got another really special feature here. We can go see just where it says insert special text. So instead of me going into every single course and adding the title of the course or the event, I can just go insert special text and I can go event name, course part, whatever you want. Let's just go event name and it will automatically add this event name. So the event I called it was Purple Pen Test 2 to every course. So that's a really nice feature. Let's make it dark blue, same color as the background. And it will add it to every course wherever I choose to add it on this map. So let's just put it here and you can always edit this. So let's move it like that, just like that. Purple Pen Test 2, there it is now. It's sort of coming together a little bit. And if we go into Relay, the other course that I set, so you can see Purple Pen Test 2 is there as well. Now that doesn't look very nice because the, it's in a different part of the map, but usually you use the same part of the map for most courses. And you can always just move that. That's no worries. Go back. All right. The other thing you can do is you can see this border is only specific to this course. That doesn't really help us with this course. It just gets in the way. And like printing this for the relay would be an absolute disaster. So we don't want this, but we don't want to have to draw and delete the border and then draw a new border and then delete that border for each course that we set. We just want to be able to draw a border and then have it specific for that course so it doesn't show on any other courses. And again, Purple Pen is really great. We can just do that by selecting the border, click item, then come down to change displayed courses. So you can see Purple Pen, I've said it many times, but it's super intuitive. You think, okay, how do I change which courses this item is displayed on? Oh, I go to item, change displayed courses. Like, it's really simple. And you can choose which courses this border is displayed on. So we only want it on course 1, click OK. We can see it's still on course 1, but if we go into the relay, it's gone. So that's really nice. And then we can draw a new border for the relay. So that's very useful. We go back to course 1. So now it's sort of coming together. Let's add a scale, add special item, text. And again, we'll go insert special text, map scale. Where is map scale? I can't see it. Course scale, print scale. There we go. Print scale, 1 to 10,000. Let's go, yeah, dark blue is fine. And let's put it just under Purple Pen test, just there. And then this one will add also to relay, but it will be 1 to 7,500 because I changed the relay course to 1 to 7,500 instead of 1 to 10,000. So that's a really nice way of adding the name and stuff to the event without having to, you know, type it out on every course that you set. So it adds to all courses, which is really great. All right, so now if we exported this, I'll just do it again. So to, you know, reiterate how to do that, file, create PDFs, courses, course 1, Auschance middle, create, replace, because I've already made one of the same name. I'm going to replace it. It's loading. And this should look a little bit nicer than the first one that we had. Let's see if I've done everything right. Auschance middle, course 1, there it is. And there we go. That looks a whole lot nicer. Now, if you're setting an actual event, you could add an image, so like your club's logo or the sponsor's logo or whatever you want. And I'll quickly show you how to do that. Let's see if I've got a picture on my computer that I want to add. So again, add special item, image this time instead of text, image. And let's find an image. Okay, these images have just been popped up for me. So they're just other maps. I'll just add them because actually I think I can find one if you just bear with me for 1 second. I think I've got an MFR one. Here's Orienteering Victoria. Okay, so I found my image and I can just click and drag it in. Super simple like that. Now I've got Orienteering Victoria in my Purple Pen folder. So instead of going into the OCAD file and adding the picture there, you can do it in Purple Pen. And that's really useful, I think. I use this a lot when I set my courses. So now you can...
Just a question and a thought. So yep. I guess when you said that you don't have to add it to the OCAD file, it means that like with a big map like this, you could use multiple areas and just add those things, whereas on the OCAD file, it might only be in one spot.
Yeah, exactly. So you could use, so for example, this OCAD file is just the map and then everything. There's no like border and there's no logos or anything. So it's really easy just to take the master map and then smack everything that you want onto the specific course like I've done here.
If you wanted to add the legend, you'd probably just add it as an image then as well.
You could definitely add it as the image if you just got one off the internet. I'm sure you could find one on the internet, or you can make one yourself and export it as an image. But yeah, and then you could easily just smack that in. Right, I haven't got one on my computer, so I won't do it. But you could easily just smack one in just there, in the side or wherever fits. So that's why Purple Pen's great, because you don't have to change the OCAD file at all. You can just play around in the program itself to make the courses look nice. All right, so now we've got a pretty nice looking course. It's got a logo, it's got a name, it's got a scale, it's got a description, and we've exported this course. I'm just gonna move the description a little bit. But often for events that we also need the control descriptions to be loose, so you can give them to the competitors at like -2 or -3. And that's really easy as well, fortunately. We can just go up to the same place, file, create PDFs, and then instead of doing courses, do descriptions, and then it'll be descriptions. So you can go course 1, and you can go multiple pages of each course, 1 page of each course. Let's just do that. How big they are, like let's just make it the default. I usually just do default because the Purple Pen knows all the iOS standards and stuff, and it sets it to those standards. So I just always leave it as default. Let's just create this PDF as well. Where's it going to save it? I'm not sure where it's going to save it, but here it lets me decide. All right, documents. Let's just call it descriptions. Save it, and then I'll open it to show you guys what it looks like. This is really easy as well. You just go and there it is. I'll open it and then you print it off and then you have to cut them out. But you can see that it's printed out a whole lot of them on the one page. If I had more than one course, it would print one page of each course like this. So you could print multiple copies and it would be pages and pages of each course. And then you could cut them out by hand or use one of those slices or go to Officeworks or something and they'll do it for you. So that's a really good way to get the core control descriptions for loose control descriptions for your race. So that's basically it for making it look pretty and setting a relay and stuff. If you have any questions, send them to the chat and I'll just move on to the fun stuff like a corridor and all that. I'll just give you a second if anybody has any questions about that, the relay or just courses in general before I move on. I'll create a new course while I wait. What should I call it? Stuff. Doesn't look like there are any questions, so let's just go straight on to the corridor. So the corridor is not as easy as it is doing in setting in Purple Pen is not as easy as it is in OCAD. Unfortunately, this is one of the downsides to Purple Pen is doing corridors and this sort of stuff. You can still do them, but it's a little bit more time consuming than doing it in OCAD where you can simply just draw the corridor in a couple of clicks. This will take a few more clicks, not a whole lot more, but a little bit more time. So just like any other course, I've created a course, fun stuff. I'll add a start. Let's put it here. I'll add a finish. Let's put it there. I don't need to add anything in between. But I can actually, I'll just get rid of the finish for now, just so it's a little bit cleaner. And let's go ahead and make the corridor. So you have to get a little, yeah, was that?
Just one quick question.
Yeah.
Is there a way that you can cut the control descriptions in two that you know of?
It's the easiest way to do that is to add a map flip, but to do it as just like, if you haven't got a map flip, to do it as just cut it in two is not super easy. And I'm not actually sure there's a way to do it in Purple Pen, unfortunately, but you can enlarge them and you can do that. You can make them really small to fit the area that you need, or you can make it really big.
What happens? It's in Condes, but what happens when you drag like the middle blue dot straight up? Does it split it automatically into two?
No, it wants to keep it. It wants to keep it at the IOF like standard sort of scale, but it will make it. It'll either enlarge it or make it smaller. So it doesn't want to split it. Unfortunately, that another downside to Purple Pen. There is a few. Obviously, there's going to be trade-offs between this is a free program compared to Condes is a paid program, but this Purple Pen has got a lot of upsides considering
when
it
you
is
said with the map flip, how does that work?
So the map flip, you can put them individually if you get a map flip. So let's add a map flip at number. Sorry, that's map. That's variation. Let's add a map exchange control point. Let's add it at number 3, and now you can see if I go to all parts. I've got the first half of the control description there, and I've got the second half of the control description there. They're sort of split, and you can move them around. Do what you will. Play with them a little bit.
That would be two different. So they'd be on different sides of the map. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. So you got the first half and the second half, but there's no way to split two control descriptions up on the same side, on the same map, on the same course, without a map flip, unfortunately. That I know of in Purple Pen. Purple Pen is always changing. That's another great thing. Like the
workaround where you made the control descriptions, screenshotted your full control descriptions, then cut that image to the shape, then made two separate images, and then paste it back in as an image.
Yeah, that's you can
workaround. But
yeah, you can definitely do that. But I didn't say that because it is a long workaround.
Yeah,
People probably don't want to do that. Yeah. But that is a way. So you could going to the export, create PDFs and descriptions. You could export the description and then play with that in like Photoshop or whatever, and then import that under add special items image. And you could add that image, which is the control description. That is you can definitely do that. It's going to take some time. But that is a good workaround, yeah.
Yeah.
there's always workarounds in Purple Pen, which is good.
Yeah.
So let's continue with the corridor.
Laurie just had one other question as well.
Yep.
While we were on
Yep.
that was why she was just unsure. She missed why Purple Pen text didn't overlap, but the logo did.
What do you mean by overlap? As in
Maybe between the two different maps.
between the two different courses?
Yeah, was that it?
Yeah. So okay, yeah, I can show you that. So this logo I imported. Anything that you import will automatically go to every course that you set. So you can see that this Orienteering Victoria logo is in every course if I scroll through the courses. Course 1, relay, fun stuff, and all controls. And I can change that. Let's say I want this Orienteering Victoria logo only on course 1. That's easy. I select Orienteering Victoria. I go up to item, change displayed courses, and I can choose which courses it's on. Fantastic. So let's go none. I only want it on course 1. Okay. And now it's disappeared on all the other courses if I click through them. You can see it's gone. Sorry, I just dropped a golf ball. What are you doing?
I think she means by overlap, she means covered the map detail.
Okay. Yeah. So the picture that I've imported here, let's just move it so it covers more map, just like that, is a picture, and it's just a JPEG image. So it's the whole thing. The whole square has got white behind it. It's not like smart enough to know that it's only text into, so you can see through it.
Yeah.
But the Purple Pen text is, part of the Purple Pen program. So it knows that it doesn't have to cover the whole thing with white.
You could
again, there's not
Victoria if you wanted, but you wouldn't have it. It wouldn't look like the exact logo.
Yeah, exactly. You could type it out if you want, but it wouldn't have this nice little picture. I always usually just use this little, cause this, you often don't need these little bits of map that are on the side, and it doesn't really change the aesthetics. And if you really wanted to not be able to see, so it didn't ruin the map at all, you could always just move it right into the corner, and then it looks like the map's been cut off anyway. So
yeah, cool.
That's a little thing that you probably won't use too often, but it can be annoying sometimes, but it's the same in, all the programs.
Cool. One more question, sorry, just before you move on to the corridor, because I think it sort of relates to the lines. How to bend lines, maybe less important for a bush, but important for a sprint.
Yep, definitely. I was going to come to that, but I'll do it now anyway. All right. So let's say we want to bend this line, the finish chute. Let's say the finish chute goes down to the track and then along the track. Really easy. Click on the line, come up to item, add bend, or the shortcut Control B. Click on where you want the bend to be. And now you've got that little blue square that we remember from cutting the lines, and we can move that little blue square to suit. And you can see that line is now bent. And you can add more than one bend. So the shortcut was Control B. Click it, and now we've got 2 bends. So now we've got a really weird looking finish chute, but you can see the line bends. And we can do that to any line. So even not the finish chute, just normal lines, Control B shortcut, and we can go like that. Really cool, really easy. And then let's say, oh no, I didn't mean to bend this line. I want to get rid of that bend. There's no shortcut for it, but it's easy. Just come up to item, remove bend, and you click on the blue square that you want to remove, and the little X will pop up, and you click that, and it's gone. So that's a really simple, quick, easy way of bending the line. So let's leave that as that so we can see. That's the bent line. Easy, just come up here, click on the line, Control B, and you can bend it. And then to remove it, click on the line, item, remove bend, and then click on the square, and it's gone. Just like that. Yep, thanks for reminding me, Brody. I was going to come back to it, but I might have forgotten, so that's good that I did it now. All right, let's go on to a corridor. A few people asked this question. So as I said, there's no super simple way to do it as there is in OCAD where there's just that corridor symbol, but there is a nice workaround that doesn't take too much time. So there's our start. That's where we're going to start from. Let's just do a real short corridor that, goes around a bit so we're not here all night. Add special item. We're going to go white out area, which basically does what it says. If I just do a little example one here, I'll just do a square. It whites out that area, and now that area is gone from the map. So, and you can probably guess what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to draw 2 sides of the corridor with white out area, and then, put a line along the edge of the white out area. So let's go whiteout area. Let's say the corridor goes here, here, and then it makes a sharp bend and comes back down and finishes there. And let's just close off that area by doing that. So now we've got our inside of the corridor. Whoop, and let's go do the whiteout on the other side. Just follow it around, give it enough space. Make sure we don't want the corridor to be too hard. And then we just have to come back on the other side. So we white out the area around the corridor, because that's the, that's the whole point of the corridor. Let's just do that. And now you can see we've got, it's really hard to see because it's all white, but we've got a corridor. So the next thing you have to do, you don't have to do it, but I really do it every time, is add a line. So I just did that a bit fast. Let me do it again. Add special item. You have two choices: uncrossable boundary, which is a thick purple line. I'll just draw it here so you can see it. This is really messy. If you wanted to do this, you'd spend more time, but so you can see that's the purple line, or you can make your own line by just going line and choose your color, dark blue. Let's make it maybe that thickness. That's good. And then we can draw it. And this will probably be a little bit better. And you just sort of draw it around both sides of the corridor, which is a little bit time consuming. As I said, that line might have been a bit thin, but we'll go with it. And add another line for the inside. Oops, sorry, that's an image. Add special item, add line. Let's make it a little bit thicker. Let's go 1, and we just draw the inside this time. Let's just draw the inside. It's I just for the purpose of this tutorial, I did the whiteout first, but I always draw the blue line first and then do the whiteout on the inside because it's just a bit easier. I'm just going to make this outside line a little bit thicker because it was a bit hard to see. And then we'll have a corridor, and it is slower than OCAD, and it is a little bit more time consuming and a bit more frustrating, but it doesn't take that much time. It's still pretty quick. And you can see we've got a nice little corridor there. And you can, unlike OCAD actually, you can actually change sorry?
The benefit is that you don't need OCAD. You can just have a PDF or a JPEG of the file and then
exactly.
do it yourself. So, because a lot of people wouldn't have OCAD.
Yeah, I think Purple Pen is sort of built around the fact that like you can do whatever you want. You can do heaps of stuff with only like the JPEG of the map or the PDF of the map. You don't have to have any paid programs like OCAD or Condes or anything. You can just do it all from here, which is really nice because a lot of the times people don't have the OCAD files because they're actually quite hard to get a hold of.
Damien's just asked if once you've drawn the line, can you change the thickness of the line that you've already drawn? No,
you cannot. So you can't, which is quite annoying. That is one thing that really frustrates me. So once I usually draw a couple of like practice lines, so I make sure I get my thickness right and then decide the thickness. Because if you draw the line and then you decide, oh, actually I want it to be a little bit thinner, you have to draw it all again. So make sure you get it right when you pick the line, make sure you get the thickness right. So that's a bit annoying. You can't just click it and change. You can click it and move it. You can play with it. You can delete bends. You can add bends. You can move it around, but you cannot change the color or the thickness. Same with when you add text. So let's just add another text. Let's just say, I'll call this one corridor or, fun stuff, or whatever the course name was. I cannot change the text that's here and I can't change the color, but I can change the size. So I put that there. Once it's in the map, I can't change I can't double click and change the text. I can't change the color, but I can make it bigger and smaller. It's the same with the line. I can't change the thickness and I can't change the color, but I can play with it. So make sure you just, when you put it in there, make sure you get the right thickness. All right, so that's a super simple corridor. One good thing about Purple Pen is it's not, you could see it as a bad thing or you could see it as a good thing. You can change the thickness of the corridor as the sort of corridor goes around. So with OCAD, it's just one symbol that's the same thickness all the way around. But in this, you can, because you're doing it manually, you can sort of, play with it and go, oh, this is a really hard bit. I might make it a bit wider so the runner's got a better chance. And just remember to change the whiteout area as well. So you can see that's a bit thicker and then it gets a little bit thinner where there's some more detail. And so, you can really play with it as you see fit. that's a corridor. Okay, so we'll start from scratch and get a sprint map up so I can show you some fake fences, and then we'll have some questions, and then I think that'll be it because it is dragged on a little bit longer than I expected. So I'll quickly make a new purple pen file. If anybody's got any questions about the corridors or anything, just send it to the text so Brody can let me know. So I'll make a sprint one. I'll just call it sprint.
I'll just let everyone know quickly, Aston, that this is part one of this series that we're aiming to do. So the point of this one is to sort of give you a bit of an idea of how things work, and then people can go away and have a practice. And then before we do the next one, send through some specific questions. It'll be a bit more of a Q&A type session of people having specific issues or specific things that they want to do with Purple Pen, and we can try and run through some things like that. So if we've missed something tonight, then it doesn't matter too much because we will be able to come back to it. I think you've done a good job of going over the basics, give people enough to get started with, and we can go over some more troubleshooting next time as well if people have some issues.
Yep. Okay, that sounds great. I'll just quickly whip through a fake fence and then this will be done. So for those that were watching, I just made a new event. If you can't remember how to do that, it was just create new event and then you follow all the steps. Really simple, and you just do as it tells you. It's really easy. So let's add course. We'll just call it course 1, and we add start. Let's say we want to start here, and then we can add our first control. So let's go Control A. It's always nice to use the shortcuts. Let's just tuck it in just there, and we can add Control 2, and we'll add a fake fence now. So we've got 2 controls. Now we can add a fake fence. Where's a good spot to add a fake fence? Let's just add one here. So we want to block off this alleyway. I'm not sure if it makes the route choice more interesting. Maybe if we put it like that, it makes it a little bit more interesting. But yeah, let's block off this little alleyway. So the way you do it is special item, uncrossable boundary, and then depending on how you want to draw your uncrossable fence, I like to do them one line there, and then uncrossable boundary, one line here. So 2 lines. You can make it a little bit neater if you want. I'm just going to do this quite rushed. One line there, and then I like to fill it with this out of bounds area in the middle, just so it's super clear to the runner that that is definitely an uncrossable boundary. So now you can see the runner is definitely not going to mistake that for like a smudge on the map. It's really clear. It's really big. It definitely shows that they cannot get through. So now it makes the route choice a little bit more interesting. So just to clarify, that was add special item, you add an uncrossable boundary. Let's just add one. Let's say we want to make this control really hard to get to. We can add it. Let's go this alleyway here. We can add one there. Block that entrance. We can add another one at the back. Block this entrance. And then fill it with this out of bounds area there. And just fill that like so. And that will make it clear that you cannot get through there. So that's a really easy way to do uncrossable boundaries. And again, this is all just done in Purple Pen. I haven't touched the OCAD file, which is great because it means you don't need access to the OCAD file. You can just use a PDF or a JPEG and you can play with the map as you see fit. So that's really cool. I have one more thing to go through really quick before I'll turn this off, is just changing the thickness of the lines and changing the size of the control numbers. Because often, like if it's not an IOF event and they don't have to be strictly following the standards, you want to make the lines a little bit smaller, or you want to make the circles a little bit bigger, or you even want to like get rid of the control numbers or something if it's training or whatever. That's really easy. Event, and then you go customize appearance, and you can see all this stuff here. I'm not going to go through all of it. You can sort of do this on your own, but it's really simple. All you have to do is untick, use IOF standards, and then you can play with as you want. So let's go. We want to make the circles really small. So let's move that one down. Let's make the lines really thick. So this is going to look like a really funny course. We've got really thick lines and really small circles. And we'll make the control numbers really small as well. You can see they're tiny. And you've got all this other stuff I'm not going to go through, but you can do that. And now you can see that our course has changed. We've got really thick lines and really small circles. So, if you're printing at a scale that's not normal and you need to change it up a bit, you can change that as you see fit. So that's a Really simple, really easy way. Purple Pen lets you play with lots of stuff. So that was, just to clarify, that was event, customize appearance, and then you can change all the stuff as long as you've unticked use IOF standards. And if you've changed the stuff and you go, oh no, I need to get back to normal, easy, just tick use IOF standards and you'll be back to normal. And that's no worries there. So I guess that sort of covers the basics of this first session. We'll get more into some nitty gritty stuff, as Brody said. But if anybody has any questions before we close this thing off, please send them in now, or you can unmute yourself and ask them in person if you want, because I'm pretty much done talking. So I'll just leave it open for a little bit if anybody has any questions.
While we're waiting for that for a second, I guess I was just thinking while you're doing that is the uncrossable walls and also the out of bounds areas can be really useful for school activities where the schools let you know that they don't want you going to a particular area, so you can make that really obvious to the kids. Or training activities where there's an area that you don't want the people to go to, or there's some construction or something like that. They're all things that you can just add yourself, which means you don't have to, if it's only for a small thing, you might not need to change the map at that time, and you might just be able to make it out of bounds or something like that. So they can be useful for that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like, let's just say there's a bit of new construction in this little courtyard here. We can easily just go up to add special item, out of bounds area, and then just go around this little courtyard with our little out of bounds area marker. And now it's all purple on that. It doesn't, it's not going to be as nice as changing the map file, but it does a pretty good job considering we're not touching the map file at all. So that's quite nice. I'll just delete that.
David just had a question, and I think I asked you just before because I'd seen it in the Google form, that is there a way that you know of, Aston, where you can change the control description words for all times? I think not just a one-off. Like you can change termite mounds to ant hills.
Yeah.
For every time you use a termite mound.
Not that I know of. I haven't played with the control descriptions to text too often. Let me just open up that relay one again. Close that off. Where did I save it? I think it was just in Orienteering, maps. My computer's a mess, so I got maps all over. I got folders all over the place. Purple Pen test. That was it. All right. So this is I'll go back to course 1 because we did a control description. You can really easily, this is not the question, but you can really easily change the control description from symbols to text just by going course, properties, and then changing down here, description, appearance, symbols, text. And you can see now it'll automatically do it for you, which is great. But I don't know of a way to change, I think the question was you wanted to change boulder to rock or something in all cases. So every time that a control's on a boulder, it'll change it to a rock. Was that the question?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know a way, unfortunately. But that would be a nice thing to
have a
add.
look at it and see.
Can I make a comment?
Yep.
Yeah, go for it.
You can, when you change it in the customized text, description text, it will change for all of them in that course.
Okay.
It won't then change for all of them in the other course. So in each course you have to go in. The other thing is that if you want to change, for example, and I use it quite often on a school map where I don't want lone tree because a year 5 doesn't know what a lone tree is, but they do know what a tree is. So I know that sounds very simple, but I want to change lone tree to just tree. And I not only want to do that, I want to change a man-made feature to a park bench. I think bench is actually in Purple Pen, but say I want to change purple picnic table to purple picnic table, and I want to change netball hoop, man-made feature to netball hoop, and I want to change the other man-made feature to sculpture or something, and I want to do all of them in one hit rather than going in and out and in and out of customized description text. Is there a way you can find, if you can, to do it in one step?
I don't know right now, but I'll look at it between now and the next session. I'll see if I can find a way.
Super. If you can find that, that'd be great.
Yeah. For those who want to find out other stuff, Purple Pen has actually got great documentation or instructions basically of all their stuff. So you can go through that, and that's where I'll be looking to try and find the answer to this question. So it's great. You can look online, you can see all the stuff there. It's really helpful.
Like a lot of instructions, it probably doesn't tell you what it can't do.
Yeah, exactly. So you probably have to go through the whole thing, and then if it's not there, it probably can't do it. Yeah.
Like, for example,
I think you're muted. I think maybe you muted.
I mean, a classic example would be crag, foot. The kids don't know what a crag is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would be a nice one to change. Well, the good news is Purple Pen, the developers are pretty active. They're changing and updating stuff all the time, and you can actually send in requests, and they often comply with those requests. So maybe that's something we could ask for them to change in the next update. They might actually do it. Give that option available if it's not already available. All right, so if there are no other questions, I think that's the first basic session done. Brody, I think we're...
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Thanks, Aston, and that was really good. Fantastic presentation, and highlighted all the great bits about Purple Pen and things that are really good about it. And I guess we all know that the best thing about it is that it's free, and it means that we can have everyone using it, including teachers and all that sort of stuff. So it's great, and this will be a really good resource for us to use now. So thanks for that, Aston. And yeah, like I said before, if you have any specific questions for Aston, like David's just then, we can go away between now and next time and see if we can investigate for you. So send those through between now and next time, and we will. The next session will be as long as it might only be a short one if there's not many questions, but if there is, feel free to send through those questions, and then we can troubleshoot them and go from there.
One thing is, just quickly before we go, a few people asked how to get Purple Pen on Mac. You can't directly download Purple Pen onto Mac, but if you go onto the website, it shows you a nice workaround of how to get Purple Pen on your Mac. So instead of doing a whole thing based on that, because that'll take a while, there's a really in-depth description of how to do that on the Purple Pen website. I think it's on the homepage. It says, do you have a Mac? Click here, and you just follow the steps, and it's really easy. So if you have a Mac and that was your question, that's the answer. Go to the website and it tells you how to do it.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming. And thanks again, Aston. That was fantastic.
Thanks, guys. All right.
Thanks, Aston. Good job. Thanks, Brody.
Thanks, Mom.